Mao Zedong, leader of the Communist Party in China, his revolution overthrew the Republic of China and replaced it with his own communist regime. He was one of the key leaders in the monumental event in history known as the Cold War. Hello everyone, welcome to Top 10 History, your hub for historical lists and amazing history facts. Today we're going to go over the top 10 amazing facts about Mao Zedong. Make sure to watch until number 1 because the number 1 fact that we chose about the Chinese leader might shock you. Before we begin, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications on because we release a new historical top 10 list every single day. Also make sure to smash that like button. Alright, let's just get right into the video. He had a mango obsession. Chairman Mao had a bit of an infatuation with mangoes. This might seem a little bit strange, but at the time, mangoes were seen as a sign of respect and it was an incredibly kind gesture to give to someone else. Mangoes were especially used as a gift and an offering to the working class. At one point, Chairman Mao received a gift of mangoes from a delegate from Pakistan, and he re-gifted the mangoes to a factory full of workers. When the workers received this gift, they were extremely honored to receive this gift of mangoes and were extremely honored that Mao would part with some of his personal mango stash for them. And if the mangoes were to ever rot and grow old, they were turned into broth that would be used communally. The mango was celebrated in China as they were often given as gifts, and there were parades in the street that would celebrate the mango, as well as Chairman Mao. He was born into a wealthy family. You would think that someone who would value equality and would push an entire country into communism would be from someone who felt like they were suffering at the hands of the rich, right? Well, not exactly in this case. Mao Zedong was actually born into a wealthy family and had quite a privileged upbringing. He was born on December 26, 1893 into a farming family in the Hunan province. Contrary to what I previously said, but his father used to be poor and struggled financially, but he eventually gained his riches through hard work. It may have been his family's working class origins that inspired Mao to form a party that was dedicated to the working class people of China. He was always interested in politics. Mao Zedong was born to be a political figure. From a very young age, he had a very keen interest in politics. He read a lot of different books and was always learning about past leaders who had inspired him. Very surprisingly, one of those leaders was George Washington. It might be hard to believe that the leading figure who brought democracy to a previously autocratic regime, such as George Washington, would inspire a future totalitarian leader. But Mao did look up to George Washington as a revolutionary leader. Mao also did look up to Napoleon Bonaparte, which makes a little bit more sense, being that he was a French emperor who almost conquered the entire continent of Europe. Mao was a very passionate learner, and he especially loved learning about history and politics. However, he had to leave school at the age of 13 in order to help his father work on his farm. He had many different careers. Bouncing off what we just talked about, how Mao Zedong began his career by working on his father's farm, he had a very diverse career bouncing to and from different professions. After growing up working on his father's farm, he enlisted in the military as a cadet for the province of Hunan's Revolutionary Army. This may have been his source of inspiration for growing the nation's military, as he had a good experience and great admiration for the military. After leaving the military, he went to a bunch of different schools in completely different fields, such as a police academy, a soap manufacturing school, business schools, and law schools. While in school, he got involved in politics by establishing and running student organizations. One of these is the New People's Studies Society, which all of the members would go on to join the Chinese Communist Party once that was formed. Mao Zedong graduated from the first provincial school in Changsha in 1918. Number 6. The formation of the Chinese Communist Party. After graduating, Mao began to work as a library assistant at Peking University. At this job is where he ran into two people who would become very important leaders in the Chinese Communist Party, and these two men were Shen Dexui and Li Dazhao, both of which would play a key role in the Chinese Communist Revolution. At Peking University, Mao formed many organizations that would present his ideals as well as unite the student body together with the working class. Eventually, Mao started to bring up his Marxist ideas to these organizations, which quickly gained popularity. By 1921, Marxism had become the dominant ideology behind the Chinese Revolution, which led a complete communist takeover in China. Who would have known that the Chinese Communist Party originated from a student organization? He was a feminist. This is probably a very little known fact about Mao Zedong, but he was actually a feminist who supported women's rights as well as gender equality. And with his establishment of communism throughout China, gender equality and equal rights was something that he wanted to bring to the nation. A quote from the leader himself says, "Women hold half the sky," which supported this fact about the communist leader. When he rose to power, he wrote several reforms and legislations that were geared towards women's rights and making life better for the women of China. Some of these reforms included the right for women to go to school and receive an education, equal job opportunities, and the right to own and inherit property. Of course, communist China wasn't the perfect place to live if you were a woman, being that you live in an autocracy run by mostly men. But life could have been a lot worse if someone other than Mao Zedong were in charge. Number 4. The Great Leap Forward. After taking over the country, Mao wanted to rapidly industrialize the country. Inspired by what Joseph Stalin had done a few decades earlier with his 5-year plan, which transformed the Soviet Union from an agricultural-based economy into an industrial-based economy. Well, this is exactly what Mao Zedong wanted for China, and he attempted to do the same. Such changes in policy included the prohibition of private farming, the idea of agricultural collectivism, and public struggle sessions. But unfortunately for both Mao and more importantly the people of China, the plan failed miserably. As a result, this caused the Great Chinese Famine, and as a result, tens of millions of people died from starvation. Since the Chinese government invested so much money into this plan, it also caused a recession when the plan backfired, making it a very expensive disaster. The Great Leap Forward quickly turned into a Great Leap Backwards. It was one of the greatest disasters in Chinese history. His family was huge. Chairman Mao had a very large family. Over the span of his life, he had 4 wives, which he fathered 10 children, who then gave him 12 grandchildren. Quite a large legacy if I do say so myself. During the Korean War between the Communist North Korea and the Democratic South Korea, the People's Republic of China supported North Korea in order to protect their communist interests. Mao's 28-year-old son, Anyang, enlisted in the Korean War, in which he fell in combat. The loss of his son deeply hurt the chairman, causing him to not be able to sleep at night. He wasn't able to sleep, he smoked heavily, and he started to isolate himself from everyone else. A lot of people question why he would let his son fight in the war in the first place, and the reason for this is still uncertain. But it is a decision that he certainly regrets and kicked himself for the rest of his life. He held power until his death. Mao Zedong was the supreme ruler of the People's Republic of China until the day that he died. Although he was not in very good health during his final days, he still ruled until the very end. On September 9th of 1976, he suffered multiple heart attacks and finally passed away. His habit of heavily smoking throughout his life was most likely a major contributing factor to his downfall. It is also rumored that he may have suffered from Parkinson's disease, which if true would have played a significant role in his declining health and imminent death. Upon his death, he had funerals that was held in Tiananmen Square, where millions of people packed the streets in order to pay their respects. His body was embalmed and put on open display to the public, which you can visit to this day, much like Vladimir Lenin before him over in the Soviet Union. His legacy. Mao Zedong was truly a controversial leader, and it would depend on your ideology how you felt about him. He was a very smart leader without a doubt, and he used his vast knowledge of history and politics in order to rebuild China into a powerful nation. He also brought a lot of reform that focused on equality, women's rights, and equal opportunity. On the other hand, he was seen as a ruthless and totalitarian leader who was responsible for one of the worst famines in Chinese history that caused tens of millions of Chinese citizens to perish. Under his rule, his regime is estimated to have caused the deaths of about 75 million people. Whether you love him or hate him, there is no doubt in anyone's mind that he is a leader that will go down in history and has made a colossal impact on the future of China. Did these facts shock you? Make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more amazing historical facts and much more. If you liked this video, check out this next video on the 10 protests that changed history. Alright, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.